Hey guys, and welcome back to the Bayonetta playthrough. It's time for Chapter 5, and as Bayonetta might say, this is where the game is going to pop a cap in our arse.
Yeah, probably would do. Maybe not quite in that fashion, because, you need to be a little bit more plummy with it, Tom. It's pop a cap in your ass.
I'm too East Midlands-ish, you know?
Hey!
But, look at
East
this.
Midlands there too.
Whatever, this is where, I think I got to the level or chapter after this, and then I stopped playing.
No, you got to this one.
Fine, whatever. What can we expect here, Mr. Man?
Hell. We're not going to go into Inferno, but this is pretty much hell for most people who play Bayonetta for the first time, because it's the moment that the game effectively takes off the kiddie wheels. Not that it was having any kiddie wheels on beforehand, but it takes them off and just like, no, you're going to have to face everything under the sun. It's the biggest difficulty curve that the game has.
Yeah.
And obviously, when you first played Bayonetta, this was the chapter that killed your run. Because you're going to get introduced to two enemies that are very aggressive, and if you're not prepared for them, let's just say you're not going to have a good time. And they turn up multiple times throughout this chapter.
Yes, yes they do. I think they're actually worse in the next chapter, or the one after that. I have played up to, I think, chapter 7 at this point, whatever Route 666 is.
Chapter 8.
Wow, I'm further ahead than I thought. I just like to be ahead of the curve when it comes to recording, but I definitely remember beating this chapter, but then I think I gave up.
When you first played it, no, you didn't. I remember very plainly.
Really?
You never beat it, because the problem that exists with this particular chapter is that it's very long and very challenging, so it's hardly surprising. And I know that when I was recording, this was one of the chapters that I was terrified of doing once I decided that I wanted to have a full platinum run again. Because this is the one that, it's hell. Because even going for the platinum, I'm going to take a lot of damage, and it gets really close to the line as we get towards the end, because I'm going to take a lot of damage here.
Mm-hmm. So you were just basically on the threshold of getting, like, a gold or something?
Basically, yes. If I had died, I would have gotten a gold, but here they are, the Blighters. Grace and glory.
I always thought of them as, like, wolf-like, but they have, like, kind of bird-like faces, really.
They're sort of bird monkeys, really. Grace and Glory are devastating for most people because they attack really quickly. They are able to block your attacks, and there's two of them, and pretty much always there's going to be two of them. The sort of best way to deal with them is try and get in torture attacks, because that'll get rid of about at least half their health, which is a godsend. But also, it's actually quite good to use the Onyx Rose's weapon that you would have unlocked in Chapter 1. And they're a weapon that I didn't really see the point of using, because they're effectively just shotguns, so they're a slower version of Scarborough Fair. But in shooting with them, they can actually stop Grace and Glory a little bit in their tracks.
Oh, look how easy he made that look!
That's because I had to play the start of this chapter numerous times because they kept hitting me, and I couldn't deal with that because I knew how long the chapter was and I needed that health.
Maybe I'll have to go back to Scarborough Fair then, because right now I'm using weapons that I think you get by finishing off this Golden Hymn LP.
You might do. They are actually really good weapons, and they're certainly ones that I would recommend using, and I am in fact going to use them for a bit of the game.
Okay.
But they're ones that it takes a while to get used to using because they don't have a shot. And yes, already we get our first Alphine, which you get just by returning to the beginning of the level.
Son of a bitch!
There's a few of these sneaky little blighter of an Alfheims hidden throughout this level.
I've basically just been buying them from Rodan's shop at this point, like moonstones and like half-blood witch hearts or whatever.
Oh my god, Tom. Broken witch hearts and moon pearls.
Wow, I got that the most wrong that I think anyone has ever made a mistake in a Bayonetta playthrough.
Probably, yes, although I'm sure there's probably worse. Yeah, I have to say though, this is a pretty nasty Alfheim. Another of the reasons why I got really frustrated to this particular chapter, because if I recall correctly, when I was recording it, I managed to get up to right near the end, and then I died, and I was just like, no. So I didn't touch it again for a couple of days, because I was just like, no, I could not be dealing with this right now.
Fair enough, really. Like, we always hit that wall in recording. Like, if you're a Let's Player, get ready to encounter the wall. It's not fun. Like, I remember spending upwards of 12 hours trying to get good runs of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. A game that's not even very hard. I just wanted to get good runs of it.
Yeah, and I mean, in that case, you didn't even need to do that. This time, I didn't even need to do this. I could have just gone, yeah, I'm just going to take the gold and run with it. But I needed to show that I still have some level of skill.
Yeah, he needed to proudly display his witch balls for the world to see.
Yeah, let's never speak of that terminology ever again, please.
Oh, Jesus Christ, these guys again.
Yes, but as you can see, I have now switched to using Sharaba and Onyx Roses. I probably should have had Sharaba and Scarborough Fair, because then my kicks would have been that little bit quicker. But basically at this point it was just like, no, I'm just going in for the quickest possible kills on Grace and Glory, because otherwise I'm gonna really hate my life.
So, Onyx Roses, was it?
Yes, they're the shotguns that I've currently got on my feet.
I'm actually thinking of saving up for those. I have about like 40,000 Halos at the time we're recording this commentary, so who knows, maybe I'll grab them.
Maybe, it depends how you want to roll with it, really. I say the only extra weapons that it's worth getting is the extra version of the weapon that we're going to get in this chapter.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because it can be an absolute godsend in certain moments later in the game, because they allow you, if you've got them both equipped, to avoid elemental damage, which is a godsend. So like in chapter 3, the Burning Ground, where we had all the fire, actually using this weapon would allow you to walk on the fire without getting hurt.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. It's kind of undulating over there. It's kind of distressing me.
Yeah. So, I mean, using the Grace and Glory's weapons can be quite useful, because they are quite weak to their own weapons, so you can use Grace's weapon on Glory and Glory's weapon on Grace, and it'll cause quite a lot of damage, which can kill them a lot quicker. It's just, obviously, the challenge of actually getting there to do that.
Hate him so fucking much. There's a thing coming up in a later level where you have to fight a couple of them in an enclosed space, and then another two drop down right after that. Killed me like 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that bit's not quite so fun, but I think the general expectation that the game has of you by that point is that you've made it through Chapter 5, therefore that's nothing.
I just like the idea of Kamiya reaching through the screen, taking an hold of the scruff of your collar and saying, "But you got past it, Gaijin. Why are you having trouble now?"
The thing is that is not the worst variant of Grace and Glory. There is one far worse that comes later on. And also, this bit's slightly terrifying because, yeah, if you do not move fast enough, you will fall down with those platforms, and that will be the end of that run.
Well, not particularly. It doesn't kill you, per se.
Yeah, but it damages you, and actually, I think, no, in this instance, it does actually kill you.
No, because I fell down there. I have proof this time that you are wrong.
Oh, you see, but even then, that's damage that you do not want to be taking in this chapter.
Very true. Oh, Luka. What are you like? Is she drawing Ammy's markings?
Yes, of course he's drawing Army's markings on there.
I thought the circle looked familiar. By the way, get ready for a lot of very unsubtle name drops in a second.
Well, of course, what did you expect? This is a Hideki Kamiya game.
I love that bald-headed motherfucker so much.
He's amazing.
And don't you think it's a little strange to be worried about my well-being? Sure, the Festival of Resurrection...
Bayonetta don't care. Just listening to him waffle on, he's like, what should I have for dinner tonight?
Yes, it's just like, oh, just listen to this Cheshire just drivel on.
A killer like you, on the other hand...
Like, do you have proof that I killed your dad, other than seeing me rise out of a coffin in the water and kill your dad?
Yeah, no, and Baya's just like, no, I'm more interested in that little girl, because I've seen her somewhere before.
Yep, and I know where, but I cannot say. I'm bound to secrecy.
Yeah, because I will murder you if you hit that spoiler, despite the fact of this game has been out for 8 years, so pretty much everyone knows what the spoiler is, but even that, we've got to keep up that air of mystique, you know?
I guess so, I guess so.
To fess up to it all. I can't wait for you to get your hands on whatever it is you're after.
What an odd way of phrasing things. I can't wait for you to win!
Yeah, is that because then you think that I'll be free and I'll just go with you and do what you want? Quite not.
Quite not indeed.
Standing right in front of me, but you're definitely not living in reality. Which is a shame. Because the truth is always going to be the truth.
And it will set you free, Bayonetta.
All I see when I look at you, the real you.
If only he,
The truth is,
changed things up a bit, because you do realise, or at least Luka should realise, that reality is perception.
the truth will set
Well, did this come out before or after The Matrix?
my life.
It definitely came out after.
Yeah, sorry. I should have used my common sense for that one.
Then I'll have won.
Luka, please swab the lipstick off your face. I can't take this scene seriously.
He's not going to do it, because he's sort of not really realising it.
Heartless witch like you.
Oh, well. You know, I am a bride of Satan, so...
Well, no, more part of the sisterhood with Madama Butterfly.
Okay, so not a member of Satan's inner circle, I guess?
No, well, you see, Bayonetta's not really got to deal with Satan. She's got to deal with Madama Butterfly, so...
You don't want to piss her off.
Yes, just rattled off a list of Capcom ladies there. Claire Redfield, I think, was in there. Sylvia from Beautiful Joe. Amaterasu, cheeky. Very cheeky, Luka.
And also Trish from Devil May Cry.
Of course. I think that is the most sexual Bayo's been so far. And still in control. It's never at the mercy of a man or anything.
Exactly, and that is why, at the end of the day, Bayonetta does end up sitting, I would say, more on the side of being feminist icon rather than female plaything.
Yeah, exactly.
It's why I do have, as I've said, some issues with bits of Bayonetta 2, because she's not quite as in control in that game.
Yeah. I think I actually know exactly what you're talking about. It's a failed QTE, isn't it?
No, it's not even that. Although that did get brought up, but that's in this game as well, so...
Okay, well, I'm thinking more of like a boss failure state, but,
Yes,
whatever.
no, I know, that's exactly what I'm talking about, but that isn't the main issue that I have with Bayonetta 2. That's nothing, in the grand scheme of things. That's an optional boss that pretty much nobody is going to see.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. So, walk us through El Doggo Supremo here. Are they just, like, grander versions of Fairness, essentially?
Yes, so Fearless is effectively a stronger version of Fairness. The key difference is that it's lightning rather than fire. It's got a tail which it can use to stab out at you and shoot laser beams at you. And yeah, so Fearless is a bit more terrifying than Fairness, which is why I decided to kill it first.
That was a pretty cool camera angle there. You know, over the shoulder, sort of Resident Evil 4, against this flaming Balrog.
Well, of course, Bayonetta is the queen of awesome camera angles.
That's probably my favourite torture attack, by the way. Just a giant spiked wheel, let it rip.
No, I think I've got one that's a bit more of a favourite.
Interesting. Well, Don't spoil it, I will wait and see. Oh no, not another one of these. I ain't got time for you lads, bye.
Yeah, at this point I was just like, no, I am not dying at this moment. I don't care that I'm going to get a pretty crappy rank after that. It's gold, I don't really care. It could have gone down a lot more, and also it's just like I'm not taking that damage because I know what's coming.
I don't think I've got a single vial of Umber and Tears of Blood yet either, by the way. Don't hate me, Richie, I'm just trying to play a game.
Shameful, Tom. Shameful.
Damn you, Tom, damn you.
Like, I expect more of you. You've been, well, I suppose you haven't watched from this part to where you are at the minute, so I suppose I can forgive you missing those ones, because, you haven't seen them yet, but the others, for the love of God.
I know. I'm just a disappointment in general, really.
Evidently, yes.
Christ, that's where a good friend would say, no, Tom, no, and just placate me.
Well, no, you see, this is why we are good friends, because I can quite happily tell you, nah, you're being ridiculous.
I only used you to get a Bayonetta playthrough on HellfireComms. This is the end. After this, I'm out.
Well, no, because I've got that wonderful 101 playthrough that I want to do, so...
We'll finish Bayonetta, we'll do Little King's story, and I guess, while we're doing that, you can record footage for 14101 in the background.
Well, no, I'm gonna just wait until E3
Okay.
to see whether I get my wish of Wonderful 101 Switch and go from there, because please, for the love of God, Nintendo, give me that Wonderful 101 Switch, because I need it. Like, I need it.
I need it like I need air to breathe and water to drink. Moon, shine down.
And also, they've teased the lighter, just like they teased Bayonetta Switch.
Have they?
Yeah, there's a picture of some of the Wonderful Ones playing the Wonderful 101 using the Joy-Cons.
Cheeky motherfucker. Also, I didn't actually realise what you were meant to do here. I thought if you crashed into these guys, you'd take damage, but no.
Nope, you crash into them, you cause damage and murder them. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, it's just a delight murdering them in this fashion.
I thought this was actually the afterburner section of the game, but no, that comes in a bit.
Oh, yeah, that definitely comes later. Afterburner gets its own thing.
These guys. I'm kind of out of anger at this point. Just seeing you take them down so efficiently makes me want to again switch back to Scarborough Fair and see how much better I do.
Well, the reason that I do well with Scarborough Fair is because I'm used to Scarborough Fair, and so I know what the combos are, and I've got my dodging down, sort of, with these guys. I'm still going to lose a lot of health as we progress throughout the rest of the level, but, yeah. Even now, I'm still not the greatest fan of Grace and Glory battling them, because they are difficult, and they are a challenge, and they terrify me every time they turn up.
They're easily my least favourite enemy I've fought in Bayonetta, up to where I am in the game so far. I don't like rabid enemies, like the ones whose attacks are so difficult to predict and whatnot.
Yeah, I think that's sort of the key problem, is that they are difficult to predict, and I mean, the hilarious thing is that there's actually a counter move that you can get on them, which people didn't realise existed for years because it was so rare. Yet it's terrifying, because basically they throw the ROM at you and you can effectively grab it and toss them. It's a really cool counter-attack, but I've actually never reached a point where I can pull it off. But yes, here is Harmony. And these guys can be a little bit of a challenge, because obviously they're flying, so you've got to spend a lot of time sort of up in the air to get any decent damage on them, which obviously means that using Sharaba is probably not your best strategy.
Yeah, I didn't find these guys too hard, I didn't die or anything here, but I can see what you mean.
I mean, they really aren't that bad, the Harmonies. But obviously, if you're not prepared for them and you got really, really badly beaten by Grace and Glory, then yeah, they're not fun.
There you go.
Perfecto. And yeah, at this point I'm just like, could you just give me a little bit of extra health? I'm not expecting any, because as I've said, Bayonetta 1 is quite stingy with its extra bits of health.
Are you saying I'd like Bayonetta 2 more then? Because I did, you know, with the Switch version I got a download version of this one and the physical one of the other.
I would say you will have a much more accessible time with Bayonetta 2. It's a lot fairer in that instance.
I wonder how the hardcore Bayo fans took to that change.
I think... So, the thing with Bayonetta 2, the key difference is that Bayonetta 1 is really focused around witch time and dodging.
Yeah.
And it's all about getting into the flow of combat. So when you're doing well, it's just a beautiful dance. Bayonetta 2, they introduced Umbra and Climax, and effectively that diminished the importance of witch time. So it's still important, but it's not as integral to getting high ranks. I mean, the key difference is that Non-Stop Infinite Climax in Bayonetta 1 completely removes witch time, so that's kind of your key challenge. Bayonetta 2, you still get witch time in Non-Stop Infinite Climax mode, so they kind of completely changed that up. So, in that sense, it's a lot fairer. Also, using items no longer causes your ranking to get lowered. So you pretty much, you don't get punished for using items.
Which is good, I agree with that.
I also agree, because it's the one thing in Bayonetta 1 where sometimes you're doing quite well, but you've been hit a few times and you're just like, if only I could use a bloody lollipop, I could get through the rest of this chapter just fine, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to kind of count as half a death. So I'm not losing my ranking for that.
Jormungandr. I probably butchered that pronunciation, but isn't that the snake on the world tree?
So Jormungandr isn't necessarily the snake on the world tree, but it's the snake in Norse mythology that destroys the world, effectively, so brings about Ragnarok.
What Zygarde's based on, essentially.
Yes.
I actually quite like these enemies. Maybe it's just the red and the gold and the sword and the shield, but Ardor. Never heard of them before, but whatever, they're going to be dead soon enough.
Yeah, I mean, Ardor's pretty awesome enemy. They can be a challenge, but they are pretty awesome. And I mean, Ardor, and yeah, as you can see, I got my ass a little bit handed to me, and I was just like, for the love of God, why must you do this to me?
Go with it.
Yes, well, I mean, at this point, I was just like, I'm not doing this again unless I die, so sod it. But yes, Ardor means great enthusiasm or passion. Because basically all of the angels' names are after, like, positive emotions and things.
Yeah.
So obviously grace, glory, ardour, harmony, dear, decorations, beloved, affinity, applaud, enchant. They're all, like, really positive words. Obviously, when it came to then Bayonetta 2 and they began to introduce demons, it's all negative words.
I actually do like that factor. Like, Bayonetta 1 and 2 mirror each other. Like, we're fighting heaven in this game and hell in the second, essentially.
Pretty much, although it's a little bit more complicated in Bayonetta 2, because it's both of them. You're fighting heaven and hell. Well,
they introduced a new faction, so that's all I care about. I'm wondering if we'll fight the human side of things in the third game.
Probably not, because humans aren't exactly the strongest in the world, as is proven. And yeah, this is why the harmonies can be a bit of a nightmare, because you get flicked up by that. Oh boy, it's not a good day for you.
Well, you didn't have any moon pearls left, so...
Yeah, otherwise I would have gone straight into a torture attack and just ended that lighter.
Or an air dodge, perhaps.
Well, the air dodge, I just couldn't get out of the way in time. It's because my hands were getting tired by this point, because just like, it's not going well.
Fair enough, mate, honestly. Oh, is there a fucking Alfheim down here?
Of course there's an Alfheim down here, what did you expect?
Oh, Tom, why?
Also, you just look down and you can see the bloody thing.
I thought that was lava rising.
Oh dear, Tom.
I'm sorry.
But yeah, I was just like, right, please be a broken witch heart to heal me, because that would be a godsend right now.
We do have, I think, a trio of bosses coming up, actually.
Sort of, yeah.
Stay in the air. Haven't we already done one of these?
We have, but this one's a lot more fun, because we get to use Kulshadra the Whip. And this is why using Kulshadra in these is a godsend, because you can just grab an enemy and jump. And this is how you stay in the air.
Oh, this almost feels like cheating, really. Why don't I have this weapon yet?
I don't know, it's because you didn't pick it up in the burning ground, clearly.
I guess so, mate, yeah.
It'll be because you missed the piece that was in, Paradiso, didn't you?
I'm not sure. I could have sworn I got at least half of it in Paradiso.
Oh, well, you would have missed the other half then.
Ah, well, alas. I can always go back and get it if need be.
Yeah, you can. That's all good, but yeah, it's an absolute godsend, and pretty much the only way that you're going to get through this particular verse decently.
It's a mark of how much I'm enjoying the game. I'm playing exclusively on handheld, by the way, and like, apart from missing a few dodge cues, because obviously I am playing on a handheld and it's hard to see in general, it plays pretty goddamn well.
Oh god, yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of insane being able to play Bayonetta on a handheld. You just look at it and you just go, how the hell is this working?
I would adore just like a bare bones port of Rising on the Switch.
That would be interesting, definitely.
I'd prefer Rising 2 more, but, you know.
Yeah, no, that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, fuck you, Konami. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they kind of, they messed up on that one.
They did. They treated Kojima like shit.
Oh, definitely, they really, really did.
Oh well. It's over now. We must stop being petty on other people's behalves and move ever upwards, ever onwards.
I do not like what we're about to face.
Really?
Yes, because we're about to face another Grace and Glory in a very tight space, and I've got not a lot of health left.
Well, you do have a lot of dodging potential and witch time at your disposal.
I do, but that doesn't necessarily help when taking down Grace and Glory in a confined space.
Yeah, I guess so. Is this the bit where you have to activate, like, a stop time thingamabob because you can't get through the door?
Yes, but you have to go up to face the Grace and Glory in order to activate it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which is why I'm just like...
Well, suck it up.
Yeah, I know. The really frustrating thing is that once you get to the end of this chapter, you're able to get two techniques which are an absolute godsend in combat. I cannot wait because they make your life so much easier.
Very interesting. I'm just, like, taking notes right now without actually taking notes, you know?
Good, but yeah, right now I'm just like, just murder, dodge, I don't even care anymore, just get through this fight!
It's less a case of being, efficient and more a case of being precise, really.
Yeah, it's just a case of, I need to murder these guys as soon as possible. And, yeah, when that happened, I was just like, no!
Oh, no, Richie! I'm feeling so bad for you right now.
I know. This was just torture for me. And then I was just like, oh my god, health!
Oh, beautiful, beauticious even.
Yeah, I saw that bit just made my day, and thankfully, I am going to be able to find some other health pickups before we get to the end of this level, which is going to be a further godsend.
Very nice.
Otherwise, I don't think I would have beaten this chapter. I would have had to do it again, and it was, at this point I was just like, no!
Ah, well, you snooze, you lose, Rich.
Yeah.
Should have agreed to that. That didn't really make any sense in context. And I'm sorry, the undulation of those claws makes me think it's a spider.
Well, it's definitely not. I mean, we will be seeing a spider later on.
Oh, goody. Thanks for that spoiler.
Oh, come on, it's going to be a delightful.
Sure. I did not think to run back here. Let's see what Hellfire I missed. Son of a bitch!
Yeah, some of these Alfheims are not that difficult to find. The reason you probably wouldn't go that way is because you're thinking there's wind, I'm going to get dragged down, and it's going to be awful. But no, it's actually quite alright.
Explain to me, because I wasn't really paying attention with the whole A and B sets thing. What does that mean?
So basically, because obviously we have just played Ni no Kuni 2.
Yeah.
It's basically being able to switch your weapons on the fly. So you can use one set, and then immediately flip to the other set. So if you want a little bit more flexibility in combat, you can start with a Shuraba Onyx Roses setup, and then you can immediately switch to like a full Scar Repair set, depending on what you need it to do.
Interesting. I'll have to take note of that. Very nicely done there, by the way, using the charged Saraba stroke.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much the only way I was getting through that one alive.
No damage, but I guess it was combo that let you down there.
Yeah, it really was. But I was just like, oh, it's not enough. No. Yeah, my life right now is just like, just kill me now, but please, for the love of God, do not kill me now, otherwise I will freak.
Kill me now, but give me a platinum rank before you do, please.
Yes.
I just got stone in this chapter, and like the next few, I was fuming.
Oh yeah, when I first played Bayonetta, I had many stone ranks as I went through, and this was sort of the first, I can't remember if it was the first instance, or sort of one of many that occurred. So yeah, it's not surprising, and I wouldn't worry too much, because this particular chapter is pretty much notorious for causing stone ranks.
Yeah, whatever. Like I said, I'll reiterate, if I didn't say it earlier, well, I'm saying it for the first time now. Actually, having played Bayonetta and watching you do this well, it's making me want to go back to earlier chapters and up my grade a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, really, that's the whole joy of Bayonetta, is that it's structured in such a way that even though it is this standard action-adventure type game, which is quite linear and kind of pushes you through the story, its gameplay loop is so enjoyable at the heart of it, even if you're doing badly, because you can see the depth of it and you think, oh, if I could just manage to do this, then I'd be able to kind of get a higher combo, cause more damage, and get a better rank, and it makes you want to go for that, and so you're more likely to work at it and have a little bit of a practice and get better. I mean, pretty much for most people, I would say, once you manage to get to the end of the game, if you decided to go back through the entire story again, you would do a much better job throughout all of the levels. In part because, you know, you'd have all the extra weapons, and that would definitely help. But also, just in general, you are then much more acclimatised to the way the game works, and some of its quirks, and everything else. But yes, with this chest, as soon as you know I can actually bloody open the damn thing, we complete another Angelic's Hymns Gold LP.
Very nice.
And I will definitely be getting that weapon as soon as we get to A Gates of Hell.
That's the Grace and Glory clause, isn't it?
Effectively, yes. I don't like this bit.
Yep, I died.
Yeah, if you don't get up to the top here, it will kill you. Which I distinctly remember when I did my, I can't remember, it was my 2012 recording of Bayonetta on my first one. But I definitely died here, and I was just like, so fuming.
Like, it's always those choke points in action game levels or platformers that annoys me, because you can have the best level design, and they'll just put something in to make sure you're paying attention, you know?
Yes, indeed. And the other frustrating thing is that if you had the thing that you get at the end of this chapter, it would be a lot easier.
Yeah, I guess so. It's pretty cool, but I shan't spoil the surprise. Again, looks like something straight out of hell, but it's angelic.
Indeed, but yes, this is inspired, which, in the grand scheme of things, isn't the most horrendous enemy, but you can't actually seem to witch time it, which is really frustrating.
Oh, okay, so that's why I wasn't able to pull it off. I just thought I wasn't doing it correctly.
Yeah, like, I was thinking that as well, but then, like, right here, I know that I did get well, should have gotten witch time on most of those fights, or most of those dodges. So it's just like, really? You're really going to do that to me? Okay.
There you go. Striker pose.
Yeah, and it was just like, you know what? I'm going to bring the pain.
Hurrah!
I'm quite glad I got to murder it in that fashion. It's quite satisfying.
Very good, mate.
And also, that was just like, health!
Goodbye, sucker.
Yes, we get to call on Malphas.
I was wondering when you were going to name this little crow thingamabob.
Yeah, he's pretty awesome. And, you know, since we're going to be here for still a long time for this chapter, it's probably a good time to bring up the language that Bayonetta uses to summon her demons, because I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I've been rambling off on all sorts of other tangents. But it is actually a real-life fictional language called Enochian.
Uh-huh.
Which was created in the 16th century by John Dee and his colleague Edward Kelly. I believe Dee was effectively a mathematician of sorts, and Edward Kelly was a spirit medium. And they claimed that it was the language of angels. And so they kind of wrote all this script and so on and so forth. And I think pretty much most people agree, yeah, it's just a load of rubbish.
Also kind of ironic that Bayonetta is using the language of heaven to bring forth hell.
Exactly, but also all of the angels speak it as well. Which is really fascinating. And, like, the thing with Enochian is that it translates quite... so it's quite a strange language in the sense of it doesn't really have a set of semantics to go with it, or kind of proper grammar. So J.P. Kellams had to really work hard to create his own linguistic kind of grammar to it to get it to work. But he was the reason that actually they ended up using it, because I think he knew of it and then he thought it would be quite cool to use. And so you end up with words like Avavago, which means thunders, or what I believe is the one for Malphas, which is Adrapan, which is cast down. And then you have kind of various other ones throughout the game. So I know one of the ones that she uses is Mikma, which means behold.
Nice.
And I know one of them is Tilok Vovim, which is Death Dragon.
Oh, I like it. Tell us about the arms we just procured there, mate.
So the arms that we just got there are Durga, and they are pretty damn cool, because what they, as I said, allow you to do is use the elements in order to wreak havoc. They don't have a fire, like a ranged attack, so they can be difficult in that sense. Also, definitely keep an eye out here, I think it's in this particular piece of the journal, where it says the greatest dive of scum and villainy.
Very nice.
I know it's definitely somewhere throughout Bayonetta 1. I think it's this particular journal entry. But yes, there it is. The dump is a wretched hive of all sorts of scum and villainy. Hey, Star Wars reference.
Well, it don't just stop there. We had all the Capcom female references earlier. Also, one time I went into Rodan's place, he says, "Hey, get a load of this. What are you buying?" I heard that in a video game once.
Does indeed, which is obviously very Resident Evil 4.
Oh, yes.
So with Durga, if you manage to purchase both items, so both the normal version and the alternate version, if you've got the electric Durga equipped, then you won't get hurt by walking on electricity. If you have fire Durga equipped, you won't get hurt by walking on fire. You've got to make sure that you have both of them. You've got to have both Durga equipped, and then to make sure you're on the right one.
Okay.
And you switch elements by you doing a circle on the left analog stick. I don't know if it's doing an attack and doing a circle, or whether it's just doing a circle. But you'll see me do it anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering a little bit about that, because I always seem to have fire out.
Yes, so you can switch it over to lightning, and the kind of key difference is that lightning is quicker, but weaker. Fire does more damage, but is slower.
Yeah, no, that's usually the way the things go with these elements and whatnot.
Pretty much, yeah. And I have to say, I'm really glad for that tower, because it's going to provide me decent amounts of health, which is going to get me to the end of this chapter. So thank God for that tower.
Alright, whatever the fuck your name was, Giant
Inspired.
Inspired? Well, he's not very inspired, because he's about to become a mook in the next chapter.
Well, I mean, he's already a mook at this point. We've faced down one which was sort of in a boss fight-ish instance, and now we're immediately facing off against him again, so he's definitely a mook at this point.
This is one of the easier big enemies in the game, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, Inspireds aren't all that bad. They're only a little bit of a pain when you're close to them and they start attacking you in that fashion.
Nicely done. A platinum's better than no platinum.
Indeed it is. And now there's a secret verse, which is all the way back where we fought the first Inspired. It's not an Alfheim, but it is a secret verse.
Well, you need those points, because you crave platinum ranks.
Exactly, and also I would not get as good a rank because I would have missed a verse, and that would then kill my run for platinum, so... But I will say that, because what's really cool is that the pots and stuff in this tower respawn every time you leave and exit. So, certainly a nice way to get a little bit of extra stuff, if it's there to provide it. But yes, just got a few harmonies over here. They're not going to be too bad, but I'm definitely going to pull off a torture attack on one of them at some point.
Well, it's just a good idea, really. You have it available. What actually triggers torture attacks, anyway?
You've got to have a full bar of magic.
Okay.
And then it'll just let you do it, and...
I love this one. I might have to trigger this myself.
Oh, this one's glorious. And then, actually, after it, you get to keep the demonic arm that you were using, so you get to keep the chainsaw. Obviously, I dropped it almost immediately because it's not actually the best thing in the world, but still.
Nicely handled here, mate. Good on you.
I think it's still a platinum. Could have gotten a pure platinum on it if I'd gotten a better combo, god damn it.
Well, whatever. You're doing your very best, and that's all that we can ask of you.
Exactly. I'm nearly at the end of the chapter, and to be fair, at this point, I was just like, I do not care.
So having both guns on one thing, that's the gun setup, to use a very stupid statement.
Yeah, but yeah, so this is what you can do with Durga. Flipping it around gets you to the electric one, and the reason that I'm going with that is because it can be somewhat helpful in the upcoming fight to have Durga, because in holding electric Durga you kind of emit this sort of electric pulse, which generally will stun what we're about to come up against, so it can help a bit. And also, generally, the setup that I think certainly was the source of a glitch that was definitely in the original version of the game, I don't know whether it still exists, I hope it sort of does, is using Durga on your hands, and then a weapon that you can get later on in, I think it's chapter 9, on your feet on another set, and changing mid-combo, which then allows you to get really amazing combo points.
Whoa, there's a big boy.
Well, he is actually one of the biggest angels that we will face in the game. He's gigantic.
They like their set pieces, do platinum games.
Of course they like the bloody set pieces, what did you expect? And also I remember when I first got to this, it was just like, I was terrified, because I was really low on health and had already died numerous times, but oh my god, this is just such a damn good scene and fight.
Well, I was mentioning earlier about how, Rising doesn't have many giant boss fights, but it does have a butt ton of Raiden level boss fights. Like,
yes.
people of the same stature as Raiden, give or take. You know, Sundowner is a pretty big man-child, but whatever. But I always love the rival fight in, like, character action games.
Oh, definitely. I mean, I think that's probably the thing that does unbalance Rising a bit, because what you end up with is effectively a game majoritarily of rival fights, with not enough kind of huger fights to take the bigger focus off of it.
Yeah.
The reason that things like Jeanne here works as a rival fight throughout Bayonetta is that you only actually fight her about 4 times in total.
Okay.
And so she's a constant presence, but you spend the bigger fights on bigger enemies, and so these always then feel more special when they do actually turn up. But yeah, we are about to get one of the most awesome cutscenes in the game.
Oh, I love it. I love it so much. I got behind you when you weren't looking. I'm the best witch here. Nah.
And I mean, just this cutscene direction is just out of this world.
I'm gonna say a very stupid thing here. Was this mocap?
I believe so, yes, actually. They did the same technique that they did with pretty much most of the action scenes. If you go on Platinum Games' blog, you should be able to find at least a couple of blog posts relating to the motion capture stuff and how the cutscene direction was done. And yeah, they've actually filmed these sorts of things with real actors, really on the cheap, to just get the feel for the shots and the cuts and so on and so forth. So it made it a lot easier to then transition to the video game version. It's amazing when you see, like, ultra low budget Bayonetta. It's great.
Oh god, someone like put the soundtrack over those clips, that'd be amazing.
Well, no, the soundtrack I think is actually already over those clips because it's the proper cutscenes.
Fair enough, mate, fair enough. Alright, Jeanne, round 2, take it away.
Yeah, so obviously Jeanne round 2 is definitely a lot harder. She's going to throw a lot more at you, there's going to be a lot more stages to this fight. She's going to use various different weapons. The key with Jeanne is generally you sort of want to wait for her to yell "burn," and then that'll mean that she's going to bring out Madama Styx, which is her demon that she's got the deal with. Because if you then dodge one of those attacks, you can get into Witch Time and get that extra bit of damage in on her.
Hey, look, we're just fighting on a floating piece of debris here. It's amazing.
It's just stunning all the time. The reason that I say that Durga can help is because if you end your move or at any point in your combo with that kind of extra explosion, that can really help in terms of just getting that extra bit of damage on her, because she can't really avoid it. Whereas she will quite happily just block shots left, right and centre.
Of course.
Now, it is also possible to counter Jeanne during this fight, but that didn't happen for me, but that's fine because she's dead, and I made it out of this boss fight alive, and I made it out of the end of the chapter alive, so...
You finished with aplomb, mate. That was a very flashy finale.
I did my best.
This is a waste of my time.
Alright, well, I'll be seeing you then. I got more training to do, evidently.
Evidently, but we're about to get a pretty goddamn awesome move.
I'm a cat.
Well, actually, it's a lynx, but it is still a cat.
Lynx is a cat, don't give me that bullshit.
I know, but you've got to go for the specifics, you see.
I guess. And those were transformations that Bayo can also acquire. Like the bats, I think, is a get out of jail free card.
Well, yes, I mean, you're about to see it. But yes, while Jeanne uses Lynx within, we get Panther within. I mean, they're both beasts within, but Bayonetta turns into a panther, and it's glorious. And that was bloody amazing.
It was indeed.
And yes, after this chapter we can then purchase the gloriousness that is Bat Within and Bird Within, which we will be doing immediately upon the start of the next part.
Oh, I see. Maybe I should have bought those, but whatever. You know, I'm trying to save up for the Onyx Roses.
Yeah, and I have to say, thank God for my 3 PO Platinums, otherwise that would not have been a Platinum run.
Yep. You did your best though, mate. That was a very hard chapter. Probably the hardest so far.
Oh yeah, it really is, and I was just like, you know what? I'll take that.
Just have a relaxer yourself, mate. We're done now. Have a bit of angel attack up in your face.
Quite right. I'd have to say, it's kind of hilarious that whenever I get to Angel Attack, because it plays Mysterious Destiny in the background, my brain just immediately starts singing as it happens. It's just like, okay, you do that, me, in my head. Just have a sing-along. I mean, I do that anyway. I mean, whenever, you know, Fly Me to the Moon starts playing, I'm just like, fly me to the moon and let me play among the stars, and just so on and so forth.
Bless you, mate, bless you. Okay, guys, that was a rather long part of Bayonetta, and there's another one coming tomorrow. So we hope you've enjoyed this, especially if you stuck around till the end. We'll see you next time for more Bayonetta. Bye-bye.